If you're a parent, keep watching. Here are 10 toddler hacks that are going to change your life. They're gonna save you from so many meltdowns, screaming fits, you name it. We're just trying to make life easier as parents. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Click the notification bell so you don't miss out on a future video. I post here every single week. Teeth brushing. Is it not the biggest struggle to try to keep their teeth clean? Does she not know I'm just trying to save her from cavities as a child? Like, I'm just trying to help you out, and it's the biggest struggle. One of my favorite things that I started doing when I started brushing Sage's teeth is using one of these newborn soft silicone brushes. They're not just for babies. You just pop them on your finger, and even if they're like struggling and moving around a lot, it's easier to get in there and really feel if you're brushing around all the teeth properly. I will say watch out because sometimes they'll bite you, and these are not bite proof. So just be warned. That is the only tip. I feel like once you do it a few times, they catch on and they try to like bite it and think it's funny. It's not funny, it hurts. I just try to stick to the sides and really go in there really quick, but this little guy, so handy. It can be such a battle getting your kids dressed and ready for the outdoors, and let me tell you, this upside down jacket hack is so clever, and it helps just get them dressed quicker and also helps them do it on their own, which I feel like is the way to be successful in anything with kids. If you can get them to do it on their own, they just seem like happier because they're like, I'm independent, I know how to do it, and also it's helping you out, especially if you have more than one. Let them do something themselves. So basically what you do is you open it up, lay it flat on the ground upside down towards them. Then they're gonna put the arms through the armholes and flip it up over their head, and ta-da, it's ready to zip up and they're ready to scoot outside and play and do whatever it is that they need to do outside. I don't know if this happens to you guys, but the seatbelt in the car seat is always getting twisted. Like, I honestly don't even know how it happens. Every time we go in there, it's like it magically has twisted around, and it's such a pain to get back. And it's important to make sure things aren't twisted so that they are safely secured in their car seat. I'm gonna show you how to untangle that seatbelt in 2 seconds. What you're gonna do is take the seatbelt and actually fold it kind of like a triangle, thread it through, and then ta-da, it is magically untangled, and it just is magical. And I'm telling you, this saves me so much stress. I cannot sit there while she's in there screaming, trying to get out. I cannot also sit there and try to figure out how to do this. So next time you're in this situation, use this. Thank me later, like the best tip out of this video. Everyone knows kids are prone to big feelings. A lot's happening in their life, they're growing rapidly, and emotionally they're going through a lot. So one thing I do when my 2-year-old is going through a really big feeling is I get down on her level. This can be less intimidating, and I also like to just kind of look at her in a sympathetic way and acknowledge her feelings and be like, are you feeling sad? I understand. The other thing I like to do is pause and then offer if she would like a hug. And 9 times out of 10, she usually says yes. Even if she's so upset, she'll say yes, come over and give me a really big bear hug, which melts my heart first off, but it also makes me realize a lot of times she just needs some love. And instead of, you know, go sit down, stop screaming, stop yelling. I feel like that's a very old school way of approaching tantrums and meltdowns, unless they're obviously doing something dangerous. But a lot of times, like, the meltdowns are just more annoying for parents, but they're probably going through a hard time, and sometimes just getting down their level, pausing out of your day and acknowledging what they're going through, giving them some attention and love goes a really, really long way and will completely calm down a meltdown. I cannot stress this enough. Have doubles of your most used products in different areas and levels of your house. I cannot tell you how annoying it is to find the diaper cream or the brush or the diapers and the wipes. Like, when they're only in one room of the house, and maybe that's upstairs in your kid's bedroom, it is so annoying. When you're downstairs, you're trying to leave the house, and maybe you gotta do a poopy diaper change, and you're like, where's the diaper cream? Oh, it's upstairs. Oh, can you go get it for me? Or you're trying to like wrestle them down and you realize you don't have everything you need. It is the most unnecessary struggle and is so easily solved. And all you need to do is have doubles of the products you know you're using all the time anyways. It doesn't mean doubles of every single thing, but like for us, the diaper cream, we have 3 of them. We have 1 in the diaper bag, we have 1 on each level of the house, and we know we're gonna go through this. It's not gonna go to waste. We also have 2 brushes and sets of elastics upstairs and downstairs, because sometimes I do her hair upstairs, sometimes I do her hair downstairs. And it's just such a struggle when you're like, okay, we're ready to do your hair, where's the stuff? And then you realize it's nowhere to be seen, and it's just, like I said, an unnecessary struggle in the morning when you're trying to get everyone ready. Obviously, things I don't have doubles of are like, thermometers, booger suckers, like those are more expensive items that I just have one of, but things you're just using every day, all day long, like just do yourself a favor. I cannot tell you how much doing this has avoided meltdowns for us, and that is showing your kids what they can do versus what they can't, or what you want them to do versus what you don't want them to do. I'll give you 2 real life scenarios that I've used this in. Say our 2-year-old wants to color with markers in the living room next to the fabric couch, and I'm like, no, you ain't doing that. And she's like, no, mommy, I want to color in there, and I want her to color in the playroom, or she can color up here on the counter because she has a tower. And so I'll give her options. So instead I'll say, we can paint in the playroom at the table or in the kitchen on the counter. Which one do you want to do? And she might kick and fuss for a little bit. And a lot of times if she's like holding the stuff that she wants to color and paint with, I'll set it aside so she can't reach it. And I'll tell her again, you can do it here or you can do it here. 9 times out of 10, she'll like climb up on her tower or sit down at her table and chair set, and then I'll bring over the coloring set. I find at this age, it's not really about disciplining, it's about setting boundaries. Like they're 2, they can't really understand consequences, and they're not really trying to be bad. They're just learning how to be a little person, and setting boundaries to keep them safe and also just like keep your house paint free, I think are really important. Another scenario will be when my daughter is balancing on her tower where she could fall back and could potentially hurt herself. Instead of saying, don't do that, don't balance or sit like that on your tower, I'll actually just say, feet down please, feet have to stay down, and that way I'm reaffirming what I want her to do versus what I don't. Now, if you're struggling with a picky eater, you definitely need to grab a copy of the Baby HealthNut Cookbook. This is a digital cookbook that I created when I first started feeding my daughter solids. It has over 30 recipes to help you feed your baby and create an adventurous eater. I know the picky eating stage can be so stressful. I share a bunch of my tips and tricks in this book, along with delicious baby and family approved recipes I know you're gonna love, and your babies and little ones are gonna love as well. There's tons of things from breakfast, snacks, desserts, and more, and I can't wait for you to get a copy. I'm gonna have a link down below for you guys to go grab yourself one now. It can be really hard to teach a young child, not to throw things on the ground, make big messes, and show them that there are consequences to their actions. Like mom and dad are gonna have to clean up your mess, and that's not a nice thing. So what we've been doing recently is actually having our 2-year-old clean up or help clean up her mess when possible. The other day, she actually spilled a cup of water at dinner time, and a lot of times it actually is just an accident. Other times I will see her just do this. So you know what I mean? So we're slowly trying to teach her that when we make a mess, we need to clean it up. And that way too, you as parents aren't the sole cleaners of the house. That way too, you're just teaching them good values of, cleaning up after themselves when they make a mess, or just so that they're aware, like, oh, when we make a mess, someone needs to clean it up, and it just doesn't magically go away. So I actually find Sage enjoys doing it. So the other day she spilled water on the floor, and, Matt was like, come here, look what she's doing. And she's down on her knees with a kitchen towel, cleaning it all up. And she's like, ooh, like, getting all the water. And she actually thought it was fun. And that way she knows, like, oh, if I spill that water, like, I'm gonna have to clean it up too. It doesn't mean that you're gonna get your 2-year-old to clean up all the messes that they make, because that would be an all-day thing. But it's just a great teachable moment that if they spill something on the ground, that somebody needs to clean it up. And they might actually enjoy cleaning it up. Hopefully not so much that they wanna make the mess, but you get what I'm saying. This next tip will save you so much anytime you're going through a big transition with your little ones, whether that means, leaving something that they really like the playground, a park, maybe leaving a friend's house. I did this recently and it actually worked. I didn't think it would, and it did. I've only done it once, but I was just so shocked by the results I had to share it with you. And basically it is using timers to prep your kids to knowing when it's gonna be time to leave wherever you're at. The other day we were at one of those indoor playground centers, and we had already been there for almost 2 hours. So we were like, okay, we're done. But Sage she was not done. She was like, I'm just getting started. I honestly don't know where she gets her energy from, but we were ready to leave. So I decided to try the timer method, and I went up to Sage and I said, Sage, When the timer goes ding, 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 in 2 minutes, it's time to leave the playground, okay? And I repeated this to her twice. I showed her the timer, I set it. She then went back to playing and I stepped back while I waited for the timer to go off. Once the timer went off, I said, Sage, ding, 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 the timer's going off, it's time to leave the playground. And you feel so silly in the moment doing this. Like there's other kids being like, what's this mom doing, you know? And I'm like, Sage. I felt like Miss Rachel on YouTube. But I'm telling you, there was something that clicked in her little brain that when I went to go pick her up, I was ready for screams, guys. I went to go pick her up and I said, okay, time to say goodbye to the playground. See you next time. And we waved and she waved and I walked over to Matt and I was like, yeah, I just did that. And like, we were both in shock and we're like, okay, let's go get our boots. And she left without a scream. Let me tell you, our 2-year-old's a very emotional toddler and like this never happened. So we only tried it once, but I'm telling you, it worked like a charm and I'm definitely gonna have this in my back pocket for future big transitions. Changing up the environment is one of the easiest things you can do to stop a meltdown in its tracks. I usually do this if I find our 2-year-old is just like super overwhelmed, nothing is calming her down and she's just losing it. I will take her, it's not a timeout, we go together and I'll take her upstairs to her room. We'll just hang out in there together. Her room is a very quiet, calming space. There's a nice fluffy rug, we have books, we have stuffies, there's a rainbow mural. It's just a calming space. And I find when we do this and we go there and we get away from like whatever it was that was overwhelming her, it totally just resets her mood. And sometimes it takes maybe like 5 minutes. You know, she'll be like banging to leave the room and then, you know, I'll try to distract her like, let's read a book or something. And she'll usually take a couple minutes and then she'll like, oh, totally changes her mood, like a switch. 1 minute they are losing it and the next minute they're like, hey, you want to read a book? Like, and you're like, what just happened here? And that happened, I see it happen all the time with her. And just, yeah, the switching up the environment can make such a difference and just save you from trying to constantly calm them down when it's just not working. I even know a mom that had a calm corner and they would have things like books, a comfy chair, bubbles to blow, which I thought was a really smart idea. So yeah, just changing up the environment and having a calm space to literally calm down. Let's talk these itty bitty little plastic elastics. These are the bane of my existence. Actually, I really like them because they do stay in and hold tight, but they're such a pain to get out. I feel like I've gotten it down to a science, but they're still tricky. And if you don't have small fingers, a lot of times it can get tangled. And then once it's tangled, it turns into a knot and then you risk ripping out hair with the elastic, which no one wants to do. So what you're gonna do, instead of taking the scissors to cut your kid's hair to get the elastic out, all you need is a Q-tip, 1 drop of lemon oil, and then all you're gonna do is rub it on the elastic. You can even go underneath and then slowly kind of seesaw it back and forth. And like magic, it's just gonna melt the plastic and no hair gets damaged. And they might smell like lemons, which is totally fine. But this is such an easy hack just to have for emergencies. If you're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to chop this entire ponytail, don't stress. Get yourself some lemon and have it on hand. In case you guys missed anything, I'm gonna have a full blog post linked down below for you guys to check out with any links or anything that I mentioned, as well as a full playlist of my other parenting toddler hack videos that I've done, because I think I've done a lot of them by this point, and I just keep sharing as I'm learning and navigating this parenthood journey with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week and have a fabulous day. Bye.